Hello there and welcome back to Jolie's, where you can get some spicy sausage, roasted nuts, and the freshest React content on the tube. YouTube, that is. And today we are back. I am back in this chair because last night I saw the thumbnail for a new ShoeOnHead video and I knew that I'd have to get to it sooner rather than later. So here I am. This video is going to be called, "Is This the Average Male Fantasy?" And based on the thumbnail, I'm thinking that it has something to do with a little controversy of a heartwarming anime about love. Surprisingly enough, something that some people just can't conceive of. The idea of love. Might as well get into it here in just a moment, but first let me just remind you to like this video, subscribe to this channel. Do you know somebody out there who needs love in their life? Share this video with them. I'm sure it will make an impact. And, as always, buy my game, X Seekers of Fortune. It's a strategy card game. Would love for you to check it out. If you follow the link tree, you could see the trailer for it here on YouTube, see how to play here on YouTube, and figure out if you want to seek your fortune. All right, let's load up this video.
Men, what do they want? Money, status, fast, expensive cars? What is the ultimate male fantasy? Is it fame, fortune, 3 hot chicks at once? Haha, hell yeah, brother. No.
Yeah, June. You might be a New Yorker, but we give you the hell yeah, brother pass straight from Texas.
According to men on the internet, it's something a little more simple.
Oh, blowing bubbles and imparting wonder. Sharing experiences? Oh my god, oh heavens.
This is literally just a fetish. I fucking hate men so much.
No.
Men are why we can't have nice things.
No. Granted, you know, I talked about cherry picking on my last video, and, you know, that's one of the things that June does. I think she'd even admit it. You know, she hones in on these very specific comments, but the fact that these people are out there makes me sad for them. So sad that their life has gone so wacky, wildly out of whack. I can't even create a turn of phrase to describe how messed up their life has to be to have the following viewpoints. But I think June's probably going to articulate that.
As I was working on an upcoming video, I made the terrible mistake of logging onto Twitter, where I saw that
she's done a really great job of being off Twitter, from what I understand. All men just have perverted fantasies. The average male fantasy. Being in love with somebody and providing for them and sharing a life is basically what that screenshot tells me. But let's get into it. I wonder, I really hope that the video she was working on was her anime, not anime, VTuber video that she's been teasing at for damn near 6 months now, it feels like. But I was going to say that because this controversy, I'm already aware of it because of the VTuber space and watching them react and keeping up with the conversation about these sort of topics. You know what? VTubers, a lot of them, pretty based. You should go and check some out. Maybe I'll put a couple of links in the description of people I'd recommend.
this post. A montage from the anime Josie, the Tiger, and the Fish, a movie about a college student who's assigned to take care of a paraplegic girl, and spoiler, eventually they fall in love. Many men were yearn posting in the replies of this tweet and talking about how they wish to fall in love and would love a relationship like this, while many others...
And I'm just going to point out, those men didn't mean that they want to be with somebody who can't walk specifically. They're not talking about the fetish. They're talking about the idea that you can be in a relationship with somebody, that you can show them a new side of the world. My girlfriend is doing that with me right now with mountain biking and showing me some of her favorite things to do in Houston, which I had just moved to in July. And I'm sharing art and culture with her. At least I'd like to think that that's what I'm bringing to the relationship. I might only be bringing one thing to the relationship, some spicy sausage, but I'd like to believe that I'm broadening her world and she's broadening mine. And that's what made us fall in love.
Mostly women, were absolutely f***ing disgusted at this. Why would a bunch of men be fantasizing about being with a woman in a wheelchair? Seems pretty creepy and predatory, right? Also just unrealistic and problematic. Well, in this video, we are going to be talking about why so many men resonated to that clip and this movie, and why so many people are so confused as to why. We are also going to be reading some absolutely unhinged tweets, as usual,
my favorite,
to get to the bottom of why such a wholesome post turned into, once again, another battlefront for the ongoing, never-ending gender war.
Boo, gender war. Yay, love.
Men versus women, women versus men, the male loneliness epidemic, the female loneliness epidemic, the dealing with dating apps. Do men prefer thin women or curvy women? Brunettes or blondes? Do women like dad bods or fit men? Do they like beards or clean shaven? Oh yeah, that reminds me. Let's quickly get into today's sponsor, Henson Shaving.
Oh, Henson, okay.
You ever just accept that some products are just garbage? Like, for years, I thought ripping your tights on the first wear was just a part of being a human woman. We just accepted that. That's just how it is, sweetie. But that shouldn't be how it is. It's a bad design. And that's why I like Henson Shaving. Because if you've ever used a multi-blade razor, you're probably sick of the irritation, the razor burn, the overpriced blades, and you probably think, that's just the way it is. But it doesn't have to be
gas
how
her
it
up
is.
a little bit
Thanks
here.
to Henson
I'm not going to pause.
Henson
during
Shaving is on a
the ad
mission
read,
to
but I'll
improve
speak
shaving.
over it.
With no
because I like
gimmicky
talking over women. That's why I got into this game.
Strips,
but I have
with
a
real innovation
single blade
and a focus
shaving
on your skin's health. What
and
really
it
sets
is,
Henson
I
apart
would never
is
go
their
back, and
engineering.
I could just
With their
take out the
Henson
little blade and put it back on. And it's just something I picked up over at H-E-B, which is Texans for grocery store.
This precision allows the blade to extend just 1/1000th of an inch
Maybe it'd
beyond
be
the
worth
shave
getting
plane,
this too.
less than the thickness of a human hair. The razor prevents any bouncing or skipping, resulting in an irritation-free shave every time. And here's the best part. Once you invest in a Henson razor, it's a lifetime purchase. The only thing you'll need to replace are the blades, which literally cost only 10 cents each. So once you own the razor, you'll be spending like $3 to $5 on blades, compared to the ongoing cost of buying expensive plastic cartridges.
Yeah.
Henson's store offers a variety of colors and even a titanium version, so you can pick the razor that best fits your style. So if you're tired of razor burn and overpaying for blades, now is the perfect time to make the switch. Just head over to hensonshaving.com/shoe and add both a Henson razor and the 100 blades to your car, and then enter code SHOE at checkout to get the 100 blades for free with your purchase. Your skin, your wallet, and your environment will thank you. Big thanks to Henson Razor for sponsoring this video, and thank you, the viewer, for not skipping the ad.
Extra fine.
You didn't skip the ad, right? Now let's get back to the video.
Obviously didn't.
Now, I am not an anime connoisseur.
Oh, I forgot she
In
was
fact, I
brunette.
basically know nothing about anime. I am probably the most tourist of all the tourists.
I should probably say for the just to let you know my perspective, my experience. Of course, I'm a nearly 40-year-old man. Dragon Ball Z was a big portion of my life. Cowboy Bebop came at a seminal moment, but I wasn't somebody who went deep on anime. But I have recently watched Frieren Beyond Journey's End, which is one of the best TV shows I've ever had the pleasure of watching. So heartwarming, such good action, such clever writing. I would say an adult anime, and I don't mean that because there's titty in it. I mean that because it's like, about something, it's about contemplating on life. So that's basically where I am. My girlfriend, she's big into anime, so she's introducing me to more of those. But Frieren was the big one that we both watched together, and I'll always hold it special. Oh.
Yeah. Hi. I have a question. Was the
Costume
upskirt
change.
shot necessary in order to advance the plot?
100%. 100% necessary. You have to know, sometimes plot is about being horny. And we got to be horny a little bit.
I watched Pokemon and Sailor Moon when I was a kid, and
The girl version of, being a nearly 40-year-old person in America.
a few years ago I watched Beastars on Netflix. Legoshi, best boy. Not a furry, by the way. And honestly, that's about it for my anime consumption. Unless you're counting VTubers. If you're counting VTubers, I watch a lot of anime. But because of this clip going viral, I watched
June, you like them big titties on those VTubers. Give us the VTuber video, June. Maybe she just doesn't have like a take on it. Maybe that's the thing. She it's like what essentially streamers who are doing like a daily thing of what she does when she composes these much more methodical videos. I don't know. We'll find out. But there's been so much controversy that, I mean, that they practically have handed her a story on the plate. If y'all don't know, in the VTuber space, there was multiple VTubers who were people like media came after them in attempts to, I guess, cancel whatever term you want to use, and it backfired immensely. Like, if anything, all those VTubers have just become more popular. It was not something I really watched much of. Kechi? I forget exactly, but I feel like if June didn't have a take on the VTuber situation, she was handed one with this whole debacle. The only thing is, it's been picked over so thoroughly already, because not only did the VTuber in question react to it, but also all the other VTubers and all the major, like, more center right and further on that side streamers. Specifically, I think even Asmongold covered it. So it's been pretty well documented and thought through.
Watched Josie the Tiger and the Fish, and, well, I thought it was a good movie. I recommend watching it. I thought it was a really cute, good story. I only cried a little bit, and I completely understood what...
Me at Lilo and Stitch a couple weeks ago. I don't know. There's something about that little guy.
The tweet meant by calling it the average male fantasy. So, what was wrong with it? Why did this clip go so viral in such a negative way? Why were thousands of people angry at this post? Well, let us dilly-dally no longer and read some of these angry replies to get a better understanding of what the issue is, shall we? Wholesome male fantasy, and it's fetishizing a disabled girl for him to control. Oh no. They think, oh God, why? Always vulnerable, always happy, always needs you. Pretty perverted. Where are these fan fictions coming from?
Also, I'm just going to guess that the character isn't always happy in the movie. I'm going to assume that there is a range of emotions. This was a trailer that they were reacting to. It's something to show you, like, this is the highs that you are going to experience, you know? I'm sure that there's either she has a doldrum life before he comes into it, or maybe she's resentful about being paralyzed or not being able to live a full life, and he is able to give her or use his ability to walk. Oh my God, I'm starting to tear up now, in order to show her a fuller life. Just imagine this. It's like, if that wasn't there, it wouldn't be a good movie. Do you understand? You know what? These people, these cultural critics, were ruined with one phrase: manic pixie dream girl. We should have called it right there. We thought they were being so clever at the time. We did not know where it would go.
Like hundreds of tweets just like this. Why did they see a cute montage of a happy couple, a man and a woman happy, together? I know, unheard of. Why did they see that and then immediately come to these conclusions? Like, as someone who actually watched the movie, Josie is not always happy. And she's absolutely not portrayed as some, like, vulnerable, ooh-woo, sex doll waifu. She's boisterous, she kind of has a foul mouth, she's very sassy and headstrong. She, like, straight up calls him her servant, but she was also very depressed. She basically never left her house. She was basically a girl failure. As a former girl failure, I love to see representation in media. But they actually...
Representation matters. I need to see some more boy failure media.
Show her disability, like, not in a good way. Like, they don't romanticize it, they don't sugarcoat it. And I noticed, unlike a lot of movies, unlike a lot of romance movies, at least like the Hallmark kind, where it's like the stuffy male lead learning to live life from the quirky, cute female lead, he's already got his shit together. And she learns to live life from him. He encourages her to live her dreams. And in return, he learns to live life in a completely different way. And I thought that was really cool and sweet. Also, the animation was really good. Is anime good?
Yes.
Have I been sleeping on anime this entire time?
We both have, June. We both have.
Fantasy is that she becomes permanently disabled and helplessly dependent on him, but can still make him a sandwich. Sounds about right. Oh my God. After watching the movie, these tweets are even more insane.
Yeah,
but even
insulting.
putting the movie aside, just seeing that, like, cute montage out of context, where the fuck are they getting this? These are very clearly just...
The folks that we're referring to here, these Twitter, super online people, I'm starting to come to believe that they are just mentally ill people who are spreading their mental illness through the internet. It seems almost like a new kind of virus. I mean, I don't want to use that cliche. You're probably thinking it right now. Maybe I could put it up there. But I don't think of it as nix the first word of that cliche. But it is some sort of mind virus that is transmuted through thoughts and text, I would say. And I think a lot of it comes from, I don't want to project here, but I'm just going to say that there's probably something in their past that has locked their perspective in, and they're making their super specific perspective or situation that they haven't healed from into a broad generalization that applies to anybody and everybody. That, and funny, I would think that these are the folks who don't like it when other people generalize about other things, but that's my non-doctoral, non-medical, not a psychiatrist. That's just my cultural critic take on that. So take that as you will.
Two happy people. But because the caption was the average male fantasy, their mind immediately goes to the darkest, worst faith interpretation of this. The problem is these people can't see any humanity in men. They can't see any humanity in humanity in general. Average male fantasy equals girlfriend with no agency who's completely physically dependent on you and forced into blanket subservience and compliance. Sounds about right. You males are weird for fetishizing physically disabled women. Average male fantasy is having a physically disabled girl that they can abuse however they want.
What
Got it. Not to be that guy.
Bro, what are you talking about? Where was the abuse in that trailer? That's so much extrapolation and projection. Extrapolating projection. That should be like objection, Your Honor. Extrapolating projection over here. That might become a catchphrase.
I'm gonna be that guy. The infantilization of the physically disabled here is a little, dare I say, ableist. The implication here that people in wheelchairs cannot find love, and if they do, the person who loves them literally just loves them because they can't run away. Weird. Average men can't even be nice to their healthy and normal girlfriend. What makes you think they'll be able to handle disabled person as their lover? Whoa. Normal? What do you mean by normal? These people are just so ableist, chat. Can you believe it? Chat? I don't even live stream. Who's chat? I'm disabled.
Other mind viruses are spreading to you, June. You're becoming streamer pilled, I guess. I mean, I would love to see you do more streams, honestly, please. I mean, I would subscribe to you and watch your streams. That's not true for most people. I mostly just watch clips on YouTube. But yeah, it's like that whole thing. I just watched a video earlier that featured a sketch of woke guy and racist guy and them getting along because they basically have the same opinions, just from coming from different perspectives, about how things should be, basically modern segregation, progressive segregation, if you will. And I'm not a huge fan of that. And I think that people get their heads so far up their own ass that they can cut this out. I don't have something. I didn't have that was going nowhere. You put your head so far up your ass, you're coming out the other end. God damn it.
Blind. So I showed this to my boyfriend. He says, I love you because you're you, and you make my days happier. So what if I have to drive you places or help you with cooking and cleaning? I would have done that anyway. Disability has nothing to do with it. I love you. Ma'am, I don't know how to tell you this, but, your boyfriend is a rapist. Sorry you had to find out this way. You show this as fantasy because it's not true for the majority of men who participate in abuse of disabled people. No, the fantasy is the woman appreciates his efforts to make her happy. Stop lying and abusing women and the disabled. Your meds, schizo. You don't even know that fucking guy. What do you mean stop abusing women and the disabled? Bitch, who are you?
Yeah.
Also, the majority of men participate in abuse of disabled people Are you okay? The majority of men are not abusers. That is a very, very small minority of men. The majority of men are men that just wake up, take a shit, get out of bed, take a shower, go to work, come home, and wait for GTA 6 to come out. That is the majority of men. Men
100%. That's like we on the best, I think the best meme format. I want to make a video explaining why I think it's the best meme format, but it's the bell curve one that has like, you know, but bell curves in general are just really good. I don't think this applies to what June was saying, but essentially, you know, it's just the majority of people are in the middle. They're not any standard deviations either way. An abuser is an exception, and they stick out. There's like a spotlight on them. The cameras point at them. They make them seem like they're more out there than they are. These people are not everyone. There's unless like I would like to know what this person means by abuse, because it could get down to that like some sort of nitty gritty microaggressions or what have you that they count, or just a man breathing is somehow abusive because of patriarchy ? But when it comes to like legitimate call the police, get that woman help, get her out of the house style of abuse, most people are not dealing with that, and they never will deal with that. That you might hear about that style of abuse through the grapevine. It might be doors down from you, but it's like, you know, such a small percentage. It just seems so loud, and it seems so important to deal with, and it is important to deal with, but you can't just go projecting that on every single guy just because he's in a relationship with a woman, and there's things that there's an exchange of necessities, of wants and desires. Anyways, men commit 90% of all rapes. But okay, June's about to read that, but still, like, quoting crime statistics, kind of Republican coded. Just going to say, you know, kind of racist coded. So good job. I'm not even going to use the term feminist. I don't think that term should not be you know, diluted with these folks. They're yet again, these people who are June's responding to are loud and persistent and always online. They seem ever present, but still a very small minority. Most women don't even post on Twitter. Most women are too busy enjoying their lives or dealing with their lives. Same for men. Just remember that when you're reading people posting online, the Pareto principle still at play. Like, what is it? 80% of the posts are made by 20% of the users, and they have their own reason. There's something driving them to post that much. Maybe they want to try to make the world laugh and say something funny, and their post shouldn't even be taken seriously. Or maybe they have an axe to grind, and they need to grind it every day until it's whittled down to nothing.
Commit 95% of all rape, but okay. Barging into the romance section of Barnes & Noble like, attention everyone! Rape! Where is that coming from? So close, this is fetish content. Ah yes, the dirtiest, most taboo of all fetishes. A happy relationship. Honestly, in 2025, that...
Oh, I didn't realize I was in a fetish relationship. Damn, yeah, a happy relationship, Jesus. Heaven forbid.
Might be true. Oh, you want a wife and kids? You sick fuck.
Yeah.
But this is literally just a perverted fantasy, LMAO. You think it's a perverted fantasy because... How do I put this nicely? You are a pervert. Literally seeing a cute montage of a male and female character having fun together, being in love together, and being like, rape! He's a rapist! This is a fetish! Are these people okay? Stop.
No, they are not okay. We should practically, I mean, look, I love the content. I like consuming the content, making fun of these people and criticizing them. I like making these reaction videos. We honestly really should just stop paying attention to them. Just block, disable. I really wish on social media, if you got ratioed hard enough, it would, like, you know, basically strike out your tweet. It would, like, the text would still be there and you could read it, but you would know that it was not well received. I'd call it bursting your bubble, because like most of the time the texts are inside of a bubble. You pop it, you burst the bubble. I think it's clever.
Watching porn. Wait, this is a woman. Okay, stop reading Taken by the Werewolf Billionaire. Whatever the fuck you read. I swear to God, some of the shit women read would make the most depraved internet gooner blush.
Mm-hmm.
Or so I've been told.
Yeah, June. Yeah, we know. You're a lady too, who grew up with the internet. I bet I would love to know, like, I wonder if June and Lindsay Ellis ever met, because they both live in New York, or at least for a time period. I don't know. It just crossed my mind because that felt like a very Lindsay Ellis moment.
This is literally just a fetish. Okay, listen, I'm not gonna pretend there's nobody out there who's like, she can't run away, she has no legs. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend there's nobody out there who has a crippled, disabled fetish, okay? I've been on the internet for 20 years. I've been on DeviantArt. I've seen shit you wouldn't believe. But the majority of people, probably most, if not all the people responding to this, do not have a cripple fetish, okay?
Yes.
In fact, her being in a wheelchair basically has nothing to do with it. Much like how females coom over, like, vampires or, like I said before, the billionaire werewolf fantasy. This is just the average male fantasy distilled down to its most extreme. So what is the average male fantasy? The average male fantasy is the fantasy of both men and women alike. It is simply to love and to be loved. But
wow, so succinct. Especially as you get older. Yeah, I mean, like, when you're younger, you're, kind of just, what they say, young, dumb, and full of cum. You're just looking for any hole to, like, spread your seed into. But, as you get older and as your heart starts to soften up and you've soiled your wild oats or whatever. I remember I think I knew I was ready for real love when I started telling people, it's like, if I were to lose my penis today, I think I would be okay with it because I've had enough sex in my life to, be, to feel fulfilled, and then it became like, it wasn't about the sex anymore. I wish my brain had caught up to that in some ways, where I think it still was calibrated to think of primarily of sex. That's a whole other story. We'll get into it sometime, but suffice to say, once you get that out of your system, or once you've satisfied that kind of fantastical urge, you really just want somebody who you can come home to and have a conversation with and enjoy a dinner with. I mean, that's what I'm looking for now, or that's what I found. I like to believe.
More specifically, the male fantasy is to be a protector and a provider for those that they love. Put a pin in this because...
And what was he doing in the trailer? He was providing her with experiences. He was being, the, I guess, guardian that could get her out of her bubble, out of her shell, because he was there to help her go to the places, just being her, I don't know, she says servant, a guardian. No, there's a better term for it, but that's what it was displaying. It's like he is, for lack of a better word, capable, and he is using his capability in order to share the world with somebody else, and that is beautiful. And if these folks don't see that as being the thing that these people are attracted to, they're lost. They're lost souls, essentially. If they can't figure this out, if it always comes back to, power dynamics and rape, then what are we even talking about? We shouldn't even be. You're not even part of the conversation of humanity anymore. Just go. Honestly, go somewhere else. Get offline. Write, if you really believe all this stuff, write it down succinctly in a book so it can be passed along. And I guarantee that anybody who reads that book is going, once you go on long enough and actually go deep enough, they're all going to see just how literally insane you are.
We are going to come back to this in a big way. Trust me. The average male fantasy is being a globally known terrorist. The average male fantasy is that a woman who isn't fat. The average male fantasy is actually job security. You know what? These guys may have a point here. Pedophile alert. Men want disabled child wives.
What?
Average male fantasy is a disabled child. More proof that men are pedos. That's a little girl. This is weird. So, first of all, she's literally older than the guy. The guy is 22 and she is 24. In anime years, he is practically hag maxing. And yes, she may be physically disabled, but aren't all men mentally disabled in their own special way? At least the ones.
June? I mean, she's right. Doesn't mean I didn't want to hear it.
To my audience, they will freely admit this. Maybe she, the older woman, is
Yes. Shoe simp, shoe simp, shoe simp.
taking advantage of this sensitive young man. Have you ever thought of that? She looks like an 11-year-old child. Where are her breasts? First of all, really weird way to say that. She looks like a child. Show me her titties. Also, I love how, like, when anime women have huge boobs, it's disgusting, Coomer porn brain or whatever. But if the anime woman has small boobs, she is a child and you're a chimo. Can't fucking win. Also, if she had big boobs, they'd absolutely be like, wow, look at this sexualization of the disabled. Also, you know, like...
Yeah, remember that. When you're talking to people who take these positions, they've designed their ability to argue in such a way that they can argue anything. Because they don't really have... They have, like, basically one thing that they're trying to do, which is, I guess, win hearts and minds to their philosophy and way of seeing the world. So everything else is, you know, lined up in such a way that they can, you know, jump on either side of the argument. It's so funny because it's like, it shows that their minds are capable. Yeah, they're well versed and they can think outside of themselves, but they use it for such silly, nefarious reasons.
Adult women can be flat-chested, right? Like, that actually exists in real life. Like, adult human women can have small boobs.
Yeah, I mean, tragedies happen all the time.
We love all titties here on the ShoeOnHead channel. All titties is good titties. End of story. Women fantasy. A boyfriend with depth.
Agreed.
And the loving, soft, deeply caring side of them. Men's fantasy. 12-year-old anime girl who looks and speaks like a toddler. Also notice how she's literally the shape and size of a child. Yuck. Have you people ever seen a child? No, you're all childless.
Yeah.
Silly me. She's not
Maybe they should start comparing people to cats. They'd understand that. This looks like a kitten, right? This looks like a full-grown cat.
even that short. She's just sitting. See, like when they're laying side by side, she's like a full-grown adult woman. Why do these people look at this and immediately think of child rape? Go to therapy. And listen, I know with anime it can get a little weird, right? Like, excuse me, Poo Poo Pee Pee Chan is 2,000 years old, and this is Poo Poo Pee Pee Chan. But this does not even look like a child.
No.
This looks like a cute woman. This is like a random rant, but I feel like there are no more cute women nowadays. You know what I mean? You have all, like, the Insta baddies.
June, you're waking up to it. Yes. That's, I don't know. What the consolidation of attractiveness into, I think she's going to lay it out here, but it's kind of consolidated into very vixen-y hot styles. But I would say that I think that there are cute women out there. They're just not being as blown up. Go and look for a hobby, and you will probably find cute women doing that hobby and being just in that hobby. I'm specifically thinking of there's a DJ who posts her sets online, and she's adorable looking. I mean, you know, she's cute, I would say, and but she's just doing her thing with the DJ sets, you know, just mixing together music, and you know, so I think that maybe that's the thing. Maybe like a lot more cute women are not maximizing for their beauty because their beauty is inherent. And thus they are focusing they're displaying themselves as competent at other things when they are on the internet. That just my 2 cents off the cuff.
the e-thoughts, the e-girls, the muscle mommies, the boss babes, the boy babes.
Yeah.
But I feel like every woman is just hot now. Which, by the way, I don't think is healthy for the male psyche whatsoever. You shouldn't wake up and be able to scroll through pictures of, like, the hottest woman you've ever seen in your life, like, 20 times before you've had, like, your morning cup of coffee. You shouldn't log in and immediately be one-shotted by 10 tens all day, as if that wouldn't make you go insane.
I mean, just please don't check your phone in the morning. If you're looking to not masturbate, just don't get on your phone.
If that wouldn't make you crash out.
Yeah.
Like, back in the day, you'd probably see, like, one fine dame on your bus ride to work, and you'd think about her for 40 years until the day you die. That's how it used to be. That's how it should be. Now every woman is, like, a crazy, hot, unobtainable Instagram goddess with the fattest of ass. Zoomers don't know how good we had it. You'd go to Blockbuster, and the 21-year-old cashier behind the counter would be the most adorable woman you've ever seen. No Botox, no lip filler, just a pure soul, full of joy and whimsy. And now women are full of hate and SSRIs. But they're hot. They're hotter than they've ever been.
It's somebody out there made a wish and that monkey paw curled its finger.
Hotter and more depressed than they've ever been in history. Sad. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, anime. I didn't take my Vyvanse today, could you tell? Men's fantasy. A big titty woman with the face of a 16-year-old that is useful for cooking, cleaning, and sex. Women's fantasy. Gets treated like a queen and a man who keeps tracks of our periods so he can take care of us. I think I speak for a lot of women here when I say our fantasies do not, in fact, include men tracking our periods. Personally, if my husband was like, honey, just a reminder you're in your luteal phase, I'm taking the kids. Men like to pretend they want this, and then they beat their wife when dinner isn't ready or their son when he's misbehaving.
Who the hell thinks that this is just a common thing? How much domestic abuse is there? Like, it might have been very close to you. Maybe you came from an unfortunate household where this sort of thing was rampant. But I even think, like, back in the 50s, like, 60s, that golden era of, father knows best. I don't think, it could have been that prevalent. It still had to be, something that just happened every now and then. Now, granted, it probably was more socially acceptable to maybe, slap your wife, if she was bad-mouthing you. But I think there's a big difference between a social, how should I say? This is going to get me in trouble, isn't it? Fuck. It's like, things can be wrong and are always wrong, but at the same time, there's like, gradation. Like, think about hitting your child, that used to, at one point that was seen as not only, acceptable, but a necessity. Like, if a child wasn't hit, they would be the weird ones. And now we've come full circle on this idea that you never hit your child as a way of disciplining them. And I'm not even sure where I sit on this, because I definitely came from a household that spanked. And I would say that I'm not one of those people who think, oh, everything wrong with kids is because we don't hit them no more. And I don't think that, but I also think that there's maybe a time and place for you to send a message, especially on the younger scale. The way to send a message is through direct stimulation of pain. I mean, that's a whole other conversation, but what I'm trying to say is I don't hold it that much against my parents that they beat me. I shouldn't even say spanked. They spanked me. I didn't get a beating. And that's where I'm trying to say that there's a line, is I don't think spanking was abuse. It was maybe antiquated. Same with, like, like I said, maybe if you had a small, like I said, I'm getting in so much trouble, but back in the 50s, I think that 60s, if you slapped your wife because things were getting out of hand in some way, I'm not saying it was right. I'm just saying that it's antiquated. If you did that today, yeah, that would be like that would be like a good reason to get out of a relationship. Back then, though, it was seen a little differently. I'm not, like I said, not saying it was a good thing, but it's antiquated. And I also think back then that it didn't cross the abuse line, that line moved after the fact. I don't think we can hold people to those standards. So I don't think, so what I'm trying to say is, even back then, what we like, the gradation of abuse was still probably like, I don't think a person was going to be succeeding in society if it was known that they repeatedly beat their wife, like up. If they beat their wife and their children up for small infractions, they are still going to be a social pariah and an outcast. I'm pretty darn certain, and it would not be acceptable. Like if you hear, Harry had to pop his wife one because she was mouthing off to him, and be like, oh, I guess he showed her. Versus like, did you hear that Harry's dinner wasn't ready when he got home, and so he gave his wife 2 black eyes? Jesus, what's wrong with him? That I think even then there would be that distinction. Like I said, I'm looking forward to watching that clip in some sort of takedown video on me in the future, because I'm sure that could really easily, for context or not, I think that clip could make me look bad. So, if you're an aspiring video maker, maybe save that one for your databanks.
First of all, I'm sorry that happened to you, but there are in fact good men out there. I've seen them. Some may be in this very audience. Sorry, I couldn't keep a straight face. This is the ShoeOnHead audience. You're all gremlins. Male fantasy equals a woman that can't run away from him. A woman that's dependent on him. Interesting. When men are involved, it's basic survival instinct to assume the worst. Men are guilty until they prove themselves innocent. You know what?
Wait, what? I don't think that's how that works, but it is kind of how public opinion works. Men are guilty until they prove themselves innocent. Through what method? We're talking about an absence of abuse. So I just prove my innocence by not abusing you for a long enough period of time. But is it, 3 times I see you? 4? Do you need to know of me for a year and not hear about me punching somebody randomly? What are these parameters? Or do I need to be some sort of performative, I don't know, grandstander for feminism that just, that may or that says all the right things, but what am I really after? What do I really believe? Just putting that out there.
I take my opinions back on free speech. I changed my mind. No more free speech.
Me too.
No more free speech until you bitches learn to behave. A woman's fantasy is a man who won't rape her, and a man's fantasy is raping a woman.
No.
I'm sorry, where is the rape, ma'am? Maybe that's how you see it, because you're brainwashed to hate men. So true. I hate how... But in reality, women are the real demons here. Oh, god damn it. Mm-hmm. We just want a happy relationship.
Can't have war if there's not 2 sides to it, right? So what is the boyosphere? What the boys are in town. Let's see what they start, dredging up.
So much to ask for? Yes. Yes, it is. Oh look, more misogynistic gooner fantasy slop written by misogynistic gooner men. This is why 70% of anime is garbage.
She's about to make a point based on this, but one thing I want to say, yet again, could be a longer video, but the term gooner, it's like, I hate it when something very hyper specific gets generalized in slang. Or I shouldn't say hate it, but I think it's a big loss for language, because gooner used to refer to a very specific action of it was like the replacement. It was like zoomer edging, right? I shouldn't get into details. Well, I'm not monetized yet. Let's have some fun. You would jerk your little pee-pee over the course of hours, maybe because you were so desensitized to pornography that you wouldn't just be able to get off anymore, or you were sustaining a high, the euphoria of pre-ejaculation. That's what I understood it to be. It's the comment section. Please chat in the comments. Tell me, am I wrong? But now it just seems to mean guy who masturbates to pornography. That makes me a gooner. I think that there should have been, it used to be called a jerk. That's what a jerk was. You were a jerk because you jerked off. And then that word changed. I don't know. It's just language is like that. But I don't like that because now we're at this phase where Gunnar still brings up the idea of somebody who almost uses masturbation as some sort of like spiritual exercise or anti-spiritual exercise, honestly, but like almost like meditation, like endurance tests, things like that. But in reality, what they're really saying is just guy who masturbates to this thing, and I just don't think that that's a fair comparison. I think the word hasn't evolved completely. So it's like at this place where it's like a really easy, stick to poke into people. Honestly, like if you're sincerely using Gunnar to criticize somebody, and it's not just a joke, or taking the piss out of them, I think you're dumb.
So, here's the thing. That, misogynistic Gunnar fantasy slob written by misogynistic Gunnar men was actually written by Saiko Tanabe, a woman. A woman wrote this story.
I thought we were supposed to be reading more women writers, guys. I thought we were supposed to be, enjoying diversity. We can't have nice things, it seems.
And I feel like a very important detail everyone is sleeping on when they covered this was the fact that this is very much the female fantasy as well. A man loving you for who you are despite your flaws, literally sweeping you off your feet and carrying you around on adventures, helping you live out your dreams, face your fears, and supporting you through the good and bad times. You're going to sit here and tell me that's not the female fantasy too? Is this not the basic female fantasy? Is this not the knight in shining armor coming to rescue you and falling in love with you? Why on earth are so many women so mad at this? Are men now the hopeless romantics? Are men now the ones yearning for a fairy tale romance? Is this why all the Disney remakes are like, she's not gonna be saved by the prince, she's a strong, independent woman? Meanwhile, men still want to be the prince, men still want to be the knight in shining armor. Men are like, I will save you from your monotonous 9-to-5 job. I will give you a house and babies. And women are like, no, I must be an actuarial consultant. Be gone, vile misogynist. Is that what is occurring here?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those, be careful what you wish for. Like, our careers are so important and so vital. Most dudes, back before women enter the workforce, complained about going to work. That was like probably the biggest, weight on them was that they had to go out and work a job. And I don't know. I mean, like I personally, granted, there's the niceness of being financially independent. I think there's too much, honestly, I'll say this. I think there's too much emphasis to put on, too much glorification put on the idea of being independent. Maybe we should blame a certain group. I'm not going to say the singer. I'll just say Destiny's Child maybe had something to do with that. Houston's Own. But I am saying that, wow, I completely blanked on that. But basically, yeah, it's like, were the jobs really worth it? Was having a career really worth everything? This whole inversion of society? I personally don't think so. I do my best to work as few hours as I can to make as little, to make the money I need to survive. So I have time to work on this, which I don't consider this a career, or this designing my game, which I don't consider necessarily a career. It could be my fortune, actually, here's a fortune, but it's not quite a career because I'm doing it for myself. I don't know. There might be a mental difference there. Maybe I'm doing some mental gymnastics, but I always just wanted to be a creative person and do creative things, and that's what I'm trying to do here. And the bane of my existence is needing to work a job in order to afford this house that I'm in and the food that I eat. I mean, yeah, that would be great. So probably why I was a leftist for so long. I should put that as my Chiron. Jolie's former leftist part of it. Modern midwit. How about that? I like that one. Fence sitter.
Also, that aside, there literally is a gender-swapped version of this story called Perfect World. It is a manga. Mango?
Manga.
No, do not come for me, weebs. Men will statistically leave their wives and partners the moment they find out they're disabled or have a life-threatening condition. You're right, it is a fantasy. Actually, that study was debunked by the authors themselves, who admitted they did the math wrong. It's actually not much higher, but then again, even if it was, and it happens, I've seen it happen to people, it's terrible. Marriage should be through sickness and through health, but that's not really the point here. And the fact that so many people are focusing on the wheelchair part of this just proves that they just don't get it. The ones of pure mind and pure soul get it, but these fucking semen demons out here, they don't get it. But not all semen demons. The amount of people in comments who just don't get that men want a cute, loving girlfriend is beyond me. They call them creeps for wanting actual love and not a girl boss who only wants your money. Ah, thank you, a sane person. Hopefully the replies aren't full of people calling her a pick-me. Pick-me alert, least obvious pick-me. Me, pick me please. Hope he picks.
I think pick-me is in the same category as gooner. Good, maybe at one point it had a really good specific and narrow definition that could be applied to a handful of women who needed to maybe be humbled with a term. But now it's just a weapon to throw at anybody who expresses an opinion that is unlike yours, that is misaligned to your opinion, especially when it comes to being in the gender war, because a pick-me is essentially a traitor, a class traitor, or a gender traitor, I should say, in this situation. So basically, if you use the word pick me to criticize other women, I think you're dumb.
You sis. Pick me, pick me, pick me. An incel could have written this. Fuck. Why are so many VTubers either pick me's or racist? You mean why do so many
why are so many VTubers based?
Female VTubers disagree with you? Why so many aren't towing the mainstream liberal feminist NPC line? Because they can. See, the most powerful weapon women
Is this secretly the VTuber episode? Let's see.
have against other women is social ostracization. You don't want to be seen as a pick-me or a racist, so you keep your mouth shut in order to survive in female social circles. But in the cases of VTubers, virtual YouTubers, they're basically anonymous. They can say anything they want. They're basically wearing a mask. They're free from the chains of the eternal HR Longhouse. But apparently
I am really looking forward to the day when a TV show or movie features a VTuber, either as just the person reporting the news, that sort of role where it's just throughout the narrative they check in with the VTuber to act as the chorus, if you will, in a Greek tragedy, or as the villain. I really think that would be great. But the villain that you really sympathize with. I should work on this script. I think that it could be based on Nux, I guess. You could probably get Nux to play the character too. But, secretly right. That sort of villain.
even being anonymous online does not save them because they still get doxxed for simply not hating men. Lovely. Right. Maybe I should save this rant for a different video someday. Moving on. Men are why we can't have nice things.
June, you tease. You tease. We just want the VTuber video, June. You know how to keep us on the line.
By the way. First of all, men make all the things.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Also, I just realized it was a man saying that. It was a whole ass man saying men are why we can't have nice things.
Yeah.
I don't deserve this trophy. This is for you, sir. This is for you. I'm not worthy. Listen, I make women.
You dropped your crown, King. What a fuckboy. That's just. Okay, so I'm probably now guilty of doing that thing where I call people names that. So let me just say this: you are a gender traitor, sir. How about that? Yeah. I wonder if you've traded on your class too. Let's see that. How much of Daddy's money did you spend this week, this month, even this year?
Jokes. I'm very critical of feminism and propaganda aimed at women, but you will never catch me in a million years saying some like women are why we can't have nice things. I have a mom, I have female family members, I have female friends, maybe one day I'll have a daughter. Women make the world a beautiful place and, like men, can be flawed and deserve criticism like anyone else. But there's something genuinely so cucked about people who put down their own gender or race. Oh god, race. Self-hating white people. Don't.
It was funny I think that I was a contributing factor in some ways, not to say I have that much influence in the world, but I participated. There's certain things I participated in and then they became mainstream and not cool. It was funny to say, oh man, white people are the worst back in like pre 2010, maybe. It was, especially at a certain time in your life. It was funny. I didn't know everybody else was taking it seriously. I feel the same way about French. I think like right before the war in Iraq, there was like a little meme. Maybe it was put in our heads subconsciously and preemptively, but there was a little meme of like, oh, French people are the worst. Blame the French. Until finally the Republicans at the time came after the French because they rightfully said, your war is dumb. You guys are going to be dumb doing this. We do not support this as a coalition. Then America went ape shit. Like all the Americans, middle-aged boomers and the such, just started dogpiling on the French. And I'm sitting here being like, okay, guys, it was funny when we weren't serious. Who do I do that to now? I had somebody, I had to switch because I feel like, you always have to have somebody in your back pocket that you secretly hate. Or jokingly hate. That's what we should say. It's jokingly hating a group. Oh, I kind of switched it to the Irish, but I haven't really been mining that well all that much. Anyways, let's go on.
Get me started on self-hating white people. White people are so evil. I hate being white. White people can't dance. White people food is so gross. You're not getting into Wakanda, bro. You're not getting invited to the cookout. Enough. Nope. But yeah, women were not the only ones who had it.
You're going to more likely get invited to the cookout for owning your whiteness and being your goofy white self, I believe. Like that's, I think that's what most people just want. They just want you to be yourself and to love it.
Problem with this, there were a lot of men who didn't quite relate to this being the average male fantasy. It's fine to love the disabled. I didn't need to remind you that. But to glorify it, this anime is certainly Marxist propaganda. The movie is about him taking a job as her caretaker, and when he learns of her dreams, he makes it his mission to help her dreams come true. So it is Marxist propaganda to help a disabled person pursue their dreams? Yeah, it's woven in. Empathy is the target of propaganda. Marxism is when girl in wheelchair. I love this. Empathy is the target of propaganda. Every piece of media that makes you feel empathy is communism. Political brain rot. If you're at the point where you see this.
You people have been watching too much Hassan. That's my theory on this. Or Frogan, even worse. But suffice to say, that was the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I think everybody in my audience is a little dumber. June, I'm sure you lost a few brain cells having to read it. I don't know what to say. I honestly do not. Like, that's the... Let's just move on.
And you're thinking of communism? You need to log off. You are unwell. I'm sorry, but when I reproduce, I don't want a high probability of my offspring being mentally or physically retarded. We need a better class of incels whose bar is higher than the retarded. She's not retarded, she has a spinal injury that's not genetic. Also, what is this LARP? I love how everyone is just kind of having like a normal conversation about this clip, and this guy just comes out of nowhere like, I would never put my pure white seed in such a vile creature. Like, you absolutely know this guy has a non-white girlfriend. They all do. All these, like, I hate white people women always have white boyfriends. All these, I hate non-white people boys always have non-white girlfriends. I don't know what it is, but I've seen it too many times. I guarantee you when this man logs off of his Black Sun Roman statue Twitter account, he's clapping Latina booty cheeks. My fantasy is...
She's right. I have no idea either. There's some... Psychology is very, very dense, and we're still learning a lot about it. But there is definitely some sort of like ring of hatred, of self-hatred going on, you know, that's being projected outward. That's all I could say.
Not being a simp, but okay. Fellas, is it simping to love a woman? Nah, this is not the male
Yes. And I love it.
fantasy. That man is a beta male. If she wasn't in a wheelchair, she would leave him for Chad. Fellas, is it beta to love a woman? This is not my fantasy.
Yes. And we should all be beta.
pussy. This is some gay shit, to be honest. Fellas, is it gay to love a woman? What?
100%. God, there's nothing gayer in the world.
No pussy does to a motherfucker. Brother, I've seen what pussy does to a motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
And it's far worse. The average.
June's 100% right. I will possibly get more into it, but pussy has put men into financial ruin. It's caused wars. It's destroyed lives. It's a powerful thing. We don't believe in magic in this day and age, but we should, because that magic is between a woman's legs, and it'll make men and women do crazy things for it.
Average male fantasy is taking care of their crippled wife. I don't think I've ever had that fantasy before. I thought it was going to be about going on some quest to kill the dragon to win the princess or something. It is. That is the average male fantasy. But there are no dragons to slay. There are no princesses to save. But there is that little old lady in the grocery store who can't quite reach that top shelf. There's that heavy box.
Oh my God. Going out and helping strangers in a grocery store, boy, does that make my day. She is 100% correct. Just go out into the world, especially dudes. I'm going to assume I have mostly dude watchers at this point. Maybe my girlfriend watches the videos every now and then. I might link her this one. Go out into the world with just the open mind to help people around you in whatever way you can. The other day, I walked into into this food court here in Houston called Underground Hall. And a lady who worked at one of the restaurants downstairs had a big bag of lettuce that she couldn't carry. And she asked me, she like asked me, I don't want to say rudely, but like, you know, like with that forceful, like, I expect you to do this. But I did not mind. And all I jokingly said to her as I was carrying this big bag of lettuce down was like, okay, get some free food. And she obliged. I did a quest. I got a reward. Boom. Come on. Go out there and live that kind of life. Live openly. Like this, your face. This might sound wild, but people can tell if you want to be interacted with. And I know that you probably go out there and you try to close off because you don't want to deal with people. You don't want to deal with situations. It's good for your soul, brother. It's good for your stomach too sometimes. Go out there, be open. If somebody asks you for something, as long as it's within reason. The only thing I don't give is money. But I will give people my service. All right, let's get back into it.
The pretty girl you work with can't quite lift herself. There's that jar of tomato sauce your wife can't quite open. There's that Lego set your little son can't quite put together himself. Or there is this paraplegic girl who wants to see the ocean. This is the Princess and the Dragon story. And despite what many are told, men do have a lot of love to give. And they want some kind of excuse or mechanism to show that love. In a world where men expressing themselves is either seen as toxic or gay. And one way of expressing that love is solving problems. Men fucking love solving problems. I don't know what it is. They also love reading Wikipedia articles. The amount of times I will...
We love gaining knowledge so we can solve future problems. That's how it goes, June. We like solving problems and we like to prepare ourselves for solving problems. I 100% though agree with June here. I mean... I'm not a action-y kind of game player. I do want to expand my gaming vocabulary for more fast-paced affair with shooting and the such. But I love puzzle games. I play like the New York Times games almost every day, like Wordle, Connections, Strands, the mini crossword puzzle. I'm not a big fan of big crossword puzzles. Like that, save that for a lazy Sunday. I don't got time for that stuff these days. The Witness, probably one of my favorite games of all time because I got to play it with my brother and we solved all the puzzles, pretty much all the puzzles together. I think he started the game by himself. I don't know if he would have gotten through it or had the gumption to get through it if we hadn't turned into a couch go-up experience. And not to say that he couldn't, slam his head against the wall, but I could see that it was the conversation that we had trying to crack the puzzles that was so gratifying and made the game a special experience. Anyways, but yeah, I love solving things. I love finding new processes, finding more efficient processes. That's what I've been loving.
looked over and my husband is reading a random fucking Wikipedia article about like the world's tallest buildings or like a random battle in World War II. I didn't know if this was autism or what, but apparently it's a man thing. Anyway, yes, men love solving problems. And in a world that makes them feel useless, makes them feel like they have no purpose, men desperately feel like they need to prove their worth.
Cue the clip from The View where they just said, "Are men worthless? Are men worth? What the fuck are you talking about, lady? What are you going to do without us? What are we going to do without you? Sorry to say this, but it looks like we're stuck in here together."
They are desperately looking for a purpose in life. So it is not at all shocking to me that the modern young man is seeing a clip like this and longing for this. A lot of modern men don't have a chance to prove themselves, to make something of their lives. They don't have a chance to provide anything for anyone because they don't have anything to provide and they don't have anyone. They are doing everything their grandfathers did, but seeing none of the results.
Yeah.
They're lost. What can they provide? And as I said earlier, her being in a wheelchair is the protector and provider instinct taken to a extreme. And yes, it is a fantasy, considering if you ask anyone who's actually in a wheelchair, they know it's not all butterflies and rainbows, and they know that it's hard on relationships. It can be difficult on their partner. But just like in the movie, it's not shown as butterflies and rainbows. Josie feels like a burden. But towards the end of the movie, the guy takes on that burden. Not because he gets something in return, but because it's his duty. Because it makes her happy, which makes him happy in return. Loyalty, duty, virtue, acts of service, big or small. Men live for that shit. And yes, these are stereotypes. Not everyone fits into these boxes, blah, 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 blah. But for the most part, it's true. When many men look at this relationship, that is what they see. And a lot of modern women are looking at this relationship and being disgusted because, in a way, it's the complete inverse of the strong, independent woman they've been sold. They've been told they need to be. The modern woman crafted by modern Disney for modern audiences. Unlike the Hollywood-crafted modern woman, this woman does need her man. She is not strong and she's not independent, at least physically. This doesn't mean she's like an empty vessel with no thoughts or freedom. No, in fact, in the movie, Josie does roll away from him a few times. It is a fantasy not because of a power imbalance, but because the man has a tangible purpose, and the woman is willingly and lovingly letting him fulfill that purpose.
Ooh. Look at that. Media literacy at its finest. Isn't that a beautiful thing? Somebody can be actually very legitimate with their diagnosis of the reason why something connects with people. June, you are a savant, it seems. You can actually look at the puzzle pieces laid in front of you and construct a puzzle out of it, versus jamming the wrong pieces together and with a hammer. But there was something she said at the beginning of that I was like, oh, I'm going to let her go, but I wanted to respond to that. But yeah, essentially, yes, it's like we want to be needed. Everybody wants to be needed. That's pretty much all there is to it. And yeah, I think we have just been through a very selfish period of humanity. The century of the self. I mean, they made a documentary about it, and I pretty much agree with almost everything stated in that documentary. That's like the good leftist stuff that I love. But we have mixed up our values, and society is suffering for it. And it was already bad circa the 90s, and then the 2000s came along and introduced the cell phone into the game. And I could have a lot to say there, but try to strip down as much as you can out of your iPhone or your Apple Android phone. Strip it down to the bare minimum and accept nothing else. You do most of your browsing in a browser. Don't try not to use the apps. Use it to transfer data, to communicate with people you know. Don't go try to stay away from doom scrolling as much as possible. Do I watch too much YouTube? Possibly. But if I wasn't YouTube, I would be listening to the radio or a TV, like a TV show or movie or something like that in the background. Documentary. I'd probably be putting on documentaries on my TV, and then just like going around my house doing things. I guess I don't know, but I mean, it's not like it. It's just made it a more curated, choose my own adventure version of what I was already doing, which was just listening to radio all the time. Was a big NPR fan up until like the mid-Obama administration. I think the war in Syria really just soured me, and I just couldn't, listen in every day, because it would basically just start off with sounds of war, gunfire, bombs exploding, and just the worst news that you hear, and that's what I was waking up to, and then kind of moved me into podcasting, and then podcasting lasted over a decade. But I think now, with how quick our internet is on our phones, like YouTube is just more convenient than any podcatcher app. And I got to be careful, because there's some I'm falling behind on that I legitimately want to keep up with. Anyways, story for another day.
I can depend on you.
Mm-hmm.
I know that if I ever feel frightened, I can just reach out to you.
Men simply want something good to die for, to make it beautiful to live. This manifests in a lot of ways, but the most common is...
Get that tattooed on you. I want something beautiful to die for. Or wait, I want something good to die for, so it's beautiful to live. Let's go back. Let's hear June one more time, because that was great.
I know that if I ever feel frightened, I can just reach out to you.
Men simply want something good to die for, to make it beautiful to live.
Holy smokes. Everybody should be clipping that. That explains man to a T. You want something good to die for, to make it beautiful to live. Hell yeah, brother.
This manifests in a lot of ways, but the most common is having a loving partner and or a family. Something unobtainable to many people nowadays. So yes, literally one of the most normal things ever is becoming a fantasy. Sad. Also, men will deny this, but they absolutely have a biological clock. It may not hit in your teens or your 20s, but one day you're going to have a dream. You have a little daughter making you pancakes with your wife in the morning, and you're not going to be able to get it out of your head. And that is the male biological clock. Everything you do, the money you make working that grating 9-to-5 job, it will all be for something bigger and more important than yourself one day. You will come home to a warm and happy home, greeted by people who care about you, and love you, and rely on you, and everything will make sense then. Until then, you'll just be on the internet, being called a misogynist, for wanting something bigger and more important than yourself, for wanting something beautiful and normal. And that is the average male fantasy. That... and 3 hot chicks at once. Hell yeah!
Hell yeah, brother.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
so that was that little video. Men in the comments, let me...
I'm just going to say, June, you dissected it so clearly. I mean, I should let you wrap up. You got a couple seconds left, but like a knife through butter, you cut through all the retarded takes in this conversation and delivered upon us the truth. And that's all we can ask for from a video like this. This is why you don't stream. And I understand, because you can't come up with, I mean, you might be able to come up with that on the spot. But I believe that you needed to craft that. You're a crafts person, not a, just let it all fall out of your mouth and just try to catch up. You're not building the track in front of you as the train's going. You make your sculpture and you pull the curtain off of it. That said, which I want to do more of. Yeah, no, I just, every time I tune in, I think it's going to be a minor topic with June, and it turns out to be like just a banger video. I feel like this was one that she just accidentally happened into as well. Man, that's so good.
No, am I correct? Is that the average male fantasy? Or is it not that deep? Men and women in the comments, what is your fantasy? And no, I don't mean that. I don't want to hear about how you want to be crushed by a 12-foot futa. That is between you and God, not you and ShoeOnHead. I mean, what is your ultimate dream? Do you want to travel the world? Do you want a nice big family one day?
My dream is to build something with my soon-to-be stepson around the house. We build it together. We get in my truck and go to the store. I mean, he's not super excited, but about going to Home Depot, but we buy the materials, we go back and we put it together, and you know, his mom just, you know, gets us, you know, provides us beverages and lets us, you know, tackle the problem. And then at the end of the day, we have like a deck or a new fence. Yeah. And then we have dinner together. That's my fantasy.
Do you want to own a farm? Do you want to live in a shed in the woods and make pipe bombs? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you soon with a new video.
Bigger. Bye! Bye! Let's let her ride out. What's her stinger going to be? No, whoa, no stinger. Boo, Shoe. Oh, that kind of hurts. I understand, like, granted, it was, like I said, a more serious video, so I get it, Shoe, that you might not want to, like, soil it with a, what is that called? It's not a cold open, but a stinger, I guess. Yeah, stinger. That might take things out of context. But that's what I mean. I think this woman's fairly cute, you know, adorable. And she, you know what? It's not about her hotness, you know, here. This is about her being technically proficient at something and, you know, providing like a service and a good to the world. She's like a modern bard. Anyways. So yeah, thank you so much, Shoe. That was possibly one of your best videos. I think it's going to live long and prosper. I can't wait to watch VTubers reacting to it, though. You gotta give them their, you know, they gotta give them their due, June. You gotta make your VTuber video. It has to be soon. Anyways, with that, all I'm going to say is thank y'all so much for watching my video. I really hope that you liked it. Please like and subscribe. If June's video and my commentary meant anything to you, that expressed something that you think needs to be expressed to somebody you know, I could see that being the case. Maybe you can't say the words yourself. Maybe this video could say the thing you need to say to them for you. Possibly. I'm just reaching out on a ledge to say, please share this video with somebody. Please like, subscribe, share, and enjoy yourself. I meant to do this. I wish I could do more than just like the video.